I'm tolerated by those people in this organisation of ours that actually know about stuff, because you're researchers, you have incredible reputations, and you work extremely hard doing very important, path-breaking research. I'm just a politician. I used to be, when I worked for a living, a social scientist. Not a hard social, not the hard end. My first degree was in economics and my second degree was in sociology, but in the LSE. But I do admire all of you who work so hard in this field, and thank you for tolerating me along as part of the team. We are a little gang, really, aren't we? We came together as a little, well, like mostly a little conspiracy. Yeah, just a few of us saying, couldn't we make a difference? Do we need big money to make a difference? And, you know, we chatted about it, didn't we? We had a couple of restaurants and over coffees and so on. And in the end we said, okay, let's see if we can construct a little organisation to make a difference with not many resources, mainly using the social media and being able to contact each other reasonably inexpensively. And let's see what we can do. And our aim was basically to track down anyone who's researching in the transport safety field and to know where they are, to spread the net so that we're in communication, bring them in both in terms of remotely, but also we said once we get this working, we'll just have one meeting a year, one physical meeting a year, and we've stuck to that, usually in the cheapest place the big brains in our organisation can find. It usually seems to be in Hungary or Budapest or something like that, or sometimes nicely in Paris. But we've actually, in terms of what we've set out to do, we pretty much, we're not complacent. We know most people in the research field now, in our area, and we're in contact with them, and we're all the time asking people to contact us if they want to be part of our network. And secondly, we've built a small group of people who are sharing that camaraderie, and I think we're making a difference. I have a different world, and Roy will disappear for a bit today. I also chair global legislators for road safety, and so that means working very closely with the health organisation, WHO. I've had experience working with international organisations before, the World Bank before that, on the Global Road Safety Partnership, which I used to chair. And I've seen all these great visions towards zero, and sometimes I got, recently I had all sorts of reasons for being despondent. First of all was that they were having general elections in Britain. We also made serious error in judgment, in my view, that we voted to leave the European Union. And so my time, my focus as a politician has been elsewhere. So I have all sorts of reasons at the moment to be rather despondent about life. So if I say I was recently very despondent about Vision Zero, and it seemed to me as I looked at my Twitter feed, a lot of usually older white men holding up a placard that says towards Vision Zero. I don't know how much good that was doing. I really didn't. And I thought we were getting to the stage where, pushing in the way that we're doing, in the mode that we were doing, wasn't going good. And I think, didn't we all say, David Davis, who's the chief executive of PACTs, which I chair, Parliamentary Advisory Council on Transport Safety, actually in recent months, and perhaps over the last year or so, he's put up with a lot from me as his chair. Because I have been a bit despondent about life, but also a bit despondent about how effective we are. When are we going to start seeing a decline? We've just seen on the screen, I'm not going to repeat them, the failure to tackle road deaths. Still the biggest killer of children and young people. For 10 years I chaired the Children's Schools and Families Select Committee. And I have a big responsibility, having 3 daughters, a son, and 12 grandchildren. I have quite a key role in first of all destroying the planet by producing so many children, but also grandchildren, but also what kind of society are they going to grow up in? And all of us know of the challenges. And the light of it is I, in this period of the last year, have got much more interested in the research coming from not the big picture of climate change and global warming, but how you take those aspirations of facing up to the reality of climate change and global warming, and then allowing ordinary citizens to do something about it. And at a certain stage, I thought, actually, what we can achieve in terms of road safety is intimately involved in another project I'm involved in, creating sustainable communities. The broader, holistic approach that, as usual, if you want to know who's doing something in a more advanced way than anyone else, you come to Scandinavia, you come to Norway, you come to Sweden, you come to Denmark, you come to Oslo, you come to some of the highest performing sustainable communities. And I believe that the future now is much brighter, and we're going to be, in a sense, saved by the concern that people have in terms of not only of climate change, but the specific worry that we are using the auto industry and the industry that produces these machines that create a poisonous atmosphere. And all over the world, we know that polluted air is poisoning people. We know it's poisoning children, we know it's poisoning pregnant women, we know it's poisoning older people, and the research increasingly shows how dangerous that is. Indeed, I chose something called optimised waste logistics. Very important sector, because we all know that the biggest truck fleets in most countries are the people who pick up your waste, because they go to every house in every street, every town, every week, in most countries. We are now putting detectors on all those trucks. First of all, it was in Oxford, City of Oxford and City of London, so we know in every street, and it will soon spread to the whole of the UK, in every street, how polluted that atmosphere is. And as we're increasingly getting that information and feeding it back to local communities, they become very angry indeed. When you try and sell your house, people are very keen on home ownership in the United Kingdom. You try and sell your house if the evidence says your house sits in a very polluted part of the country. I made these remarks in Belfast about a year ago, and somebody put his hand up and said, in the wonderful green island of Ireland, we wouldn't be worried about that. Sorry about the Irish accent. But all the evidence shows two most polluted places in the United Kingdom are in Belfast. So there is something really very interesting coming out of the growing concern about air pollution on the one side and the strive to have sustainable towns, sustainable cities and sustainable communities. So I'm now very optimistic. We have a new parliamentary group and a new commission on sustainable towns, and I'm trying to bring together those So I finished up being reasonably positive that we're going to get change. We're not going to get it by a lot of the stuff that we're here in Sweden to discuss at the moment. I look quite honestly at the agenda of the Ministerial conference, and I think, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And why doing this? And just want to share two things that I'm going to be saying before the audience later. I'm very conscious, even if you're a member of the British royal family, if you get on a plane now and fly somewhere, people say, why are they flying? Why don't they know what that does to our environment? And I have to tell you that we, and certainly politicians who are in the public eye, will be more and more reluctant to travel around the world meeting each other. That used to be our prime way of meeting other politicians. Get on a train, a plane, go to a delegation, meet a conference, go and see people who are in Brazil, called International Parliamentary Union and the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. 53 in the Commonwealth, and then all the countries of the world in the other. And that's what we do. We go on planes and we go and see people. That's all going to end. That's going to end. And I'm part of a group in the United Kingdom that say, how do we use the technology to communicate in an intelligent and positive way, in a useful way, that does not actually mean that you travel? And with the International Development Department in the UK very interested in this, talking to some of the biggest aid agencies and some of the tech experts, bringing together just how we refine that process of speaking to each other, working together, collaborating together without actually using certain kinds of transportation. So any of you interested in that, please keep in touch, because it's a work in progress. So, and one of the other interesting things about that is that we are increasingly moving to a situation where the resources that we can give, to communities to take action is also going to change. The fact of the matter is, if you look at the share of the budget going into sustainability, it does two things. First of all, most politicians, certainly in the British House of Commons, are up there talking about climate change, the big picture, what's happening to the Amazonian rainforest. I recently hosted some of the tribal indigenous leaders of the Amazonian area in the House of Commons. People look at what's happening in the Amazon, they're looking at Australia on fire, and they say, this is just too much, I don't know what to do about this. And they feel disempowered. What sustainable communities can do is give practical ways in which communities and their citizens can make a difference. And I think bringing those things together is going to be good, not only for the struggle to improve our environment and to tackle climate change, but also it brings in great moments. We have a sustainable community, a sustainable town, a sustainable city. We reduce road casualties. Now, that doesn't mean that research isn't important, it goes on. So, all I'm saying today is, as a mere humble politician who really enjoys working with you guys, I went through this period of despondency, I've come through it. I now feel very bright about the future, and I think the relevance of this group in this new context is even more important, more pivotal, more useful. So thanks for all your hard work. Keep spreading the message. I'm the mere person that will then take that message and sort of try and deliver it in the right way. But I have to tell you, we've got some hard fights ahead. I really believe that the kinds of people that want to keep putting inappropriate vehicles on our roads, whether they're two-wheelers or little two-wheelers or they're new forms of mobility, or the conventional car or the heavy good vehicle, the truck, that sector wants to keep on making more and more of the same. And we have got to do something to say to them, you have to stop doing what you've been doing. The most powerful lobby I've ever come across in my political career, and they will not like us trying to stop what they do. The fact of the matter is, once we have this, the damage they do to the environment, I think we can put them on the back foot. I look at, people sometimes criticise the United States. When we saw the scandal of what came out of the German auto industry in terms of lying about the emissions, fiddling with the data, fiddling to evade detection, we saw what happened. A very limp response in Europe, whereas the Americans, that we sometimes underrate in terms of their regulatory framework, absolutely went for them, and it cost VW and other car makers billions in the United States. That money in the United States, I don't know where it went, I think it just went into the federal coffers. But the fact of the matter is, it seems to me, when we say where do we get money in order to tackle what we see in terms of road deaths and road casualties, and people say we haven't got enough money to do the things we want to do. I look at the way in which the American regulators markets took on the big car producers and did so very effectively. And so I think there's a real possibility of standing up to the vested interests. The vested interests are there. They're powerful. They're here. Come on, they're here. They don't call themselves. There's sort of a big sign up there that says, "This is the car lobby." We all know what they call themselves, and we know that they appear in very different ways. I know that when I was chair of the Global Road Safety Partnership, steadily, because the United Nations don't have any money, and the World Health Organization doesn't have any money, they have to go for donors. Yeah, we know, because they're in charge, they want donors, they become susceptible to pressure. And we are in a situation that that pressure can be exerted, and we have to realise that that pressure is exerted, and we have to stand up to it. Using good research, using the information. I need, and other regulators, other legislators like that, need that information, need that help. Also need a sense of reality that this is a struggle against a large number of people and vested interests who do not want to change. Together, I hope we can make them change. Thank you.